and thank you very much for watching or listening. Liam Hartree here today with another episode of Presenting Champions for the Simply Inspired podcast. And today I'm very grateful to be joined by a very, very special guest. This man has competed in Lethwei, he's competed in Muay Thai, kickboxing as well extensively, is based in Peru. And today we're going to be telling his story, not only about fights and about combat, but also about life and life lessons that this man has learned along the way. Today's guest, Matteo Celi Chamorro. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that all correctly.
Yes.
Lovely. And I just want to thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for making time for this today.
Thank you, Liam, for inviting me. It's a great honor to have the opportunity to share my story and my experiences. Maybe some other people can have positive conclusions from them. You know,
Absolutely.
it's an honor.
I believe they will. I believe they will. The people will take some inspiration and some positive motivation from your story, I believe. So, starting at the beginning, obviously you were born in Peru. I guess you grew up there. Can you share with us how your interest in martial arts started in your early life, and where you first became interested in that, please?
Yes. Well, I had a little flirt with martial arts when I was a kid. Maybe like most people do with traditional martial arts. I did some taekwondo when I was a kid. But at the beginning, it was when I was a kid, it was always something my parents wanted me to do, not necessarily something I was interested in. Actually, my interest came really kind of old for the people around me in the fighters that were around me. For example, I was kind of a lost kid, and a teenager, lost teenager. All my classmates knew what they were gonna do when they finished school. I really had no idea. I didn't picture myself doing like traditional jobs, and I felt kind of lost actually, and had a lot of time on my hands. And when you have too many time and not many guidance, you take bad decisions. You hang around the wrong people. And actually, I was in a pretty bad spot when I started practicing Muay Thai. My first experience with Muay Thai was a friend actually who had come from the same environment but found Muay Thai before me, told me, hey, you have a lot of time on your own. I see you are like lost. I feel you lost. Why don't you come train with me? I'll lend you some gloves. You don't need anything, but just come with me. So he pushed me in the beginning to go. I gave it a try. Like I told you, I was in bad circles, bad activities. So you're always involved in fights, and So I thought, in the worst case, I'm gonna learn how to defend myself. But it was much more than that for me. So it was like love at first sight. I just trained once and never left the gym since. Like I'm talking maybe 2012. My first training, I was probably 21, 22 years old. So it's kind of old for fighters. Like after a while, when I reached national team, etc., I had friends that were like 6 years younger than me, already international champions. So I always knew I was late. So I had to catch them, to catch all my competitors and also my partners.
Absolutely,
Basically,
yeah.
that's how it started.
That's how it started. Well, I love that because it shows people that, even if you do start late with something, with the right dedication and the right commitment to it,
Right
you get
mindset.
that. Absolutely, which we will also talk about very soon. Before we go further into your journey and everything, in Peru, in where the area where you're from, is there like a lot of opportunities for fighters? Is it something that like there's many gyms around, or is it not really something that's very common?
It's been growing since I started. It's grown, but it's not like a professional. You cannot live just from fighting. if you want to live from fighting, you have to go elsewhere, to tell you the truth. But you can live from teaching. You can do related to fighting stuff like making fighting events. So but it is not as big as seen, you know. The beginning, my family, maybe I won't say they didn't support me, but maybe they didn't take it seriously. They thought, hey, maybe you should be looking for something else instead of just, if you want to get hit, I can hit you for free, you know, the kind of jokes that people make when they're not sure about what you're doing, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, this is another life lesson, though, isn't it? Is, when you believe in something, you have to persevere. Even when people are saying, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I like that. So, okay, so you started training, and obviously, love at first sight. You were enjoying this. At what point did you realize that you could go
I want to
far
fight.
in this? You know?
Oh. Well, actually, I never saw myself like some people say. I picture myself a champion. It wasn't like that for me. It was like I started training really hard and started like getting better than my teammates, uh, and I started itching for fighting. I hadn't even had a fight first, so I was like all day after my coach, I need to fight, I want to fight, I want to fight. I was sometimes getting hurt with my partners because I was young and too much like will for success, you know, to achieve things. So finally, I got my chance, and I started fighting, and it was never like I think I'm gonna go far because I I was late, like I told you. So it was like more like small objectives. I wanted to be like, my first idea was I want to fight. I want to actually, maybe I'm getting ahead, but my first fight I lost on points, and it was a tremendous lesson for the rest of my career. And first it was I want to fight, then it was I want to win a fight, then I want to be a national champion. When I was a national champion, well, I'm here. I need something more. I want to be a South American champion, and each time I achieved a small goal, a new one, I put a new one. So actually, I always did it like step by step. Never dreamed too big.
I like that. I like that a lot because, well, I think it's a good way to pursue your goals, actually, one step at a time, see how you do. So, yes, so, okay, you've mentioned then your first fight was actually a loss. So, I also think this is a good life lesson for people, to bounce back from
Yes.
defeat, from failure. A lot of people expect something to go well straight away. When it doesn't, sometimes they are discouraged, but you kept going. So let's talk a little bit about the fight and a little bit about where you got the inspiration to try again after that.
Yeah, actually, my first fight, I was like I told you, I was after my coach constantly bothering him about fighting, so I wasn't really prepared. I was my coach. I don't know how to say, like he accepted because I was bothering him all the time. He wasn't like enthusiastic about me fighting really. He was more like, okay, you want to fight, let's see what you're made of, let's see if you. I wasn't prepared technically. All I had was like my heart and my will. So I wasn't too prepared. I lost some points like I told you, but I think even watching my first fight with any fighter can tell you this, if he watches his first fight, it's gonna be cringe. He's gonna feel like, "Ugh, it's me doing that, really." Even watching my first fight, I still think I showed I had something that maybe you cannot learn or train, or maybe you can, but it's hard. It's harder than learning technique. It's like the will to overcome hard, even almost impossible obstacles. My opponent was much better than me. He had more fights than me. It was my first fight, and it was a national championship, which is an open championship, so anyone can go, any kind of experience. And I did okay. I won a round. I lost 2 rounds. I didn't like measure my cardio too much. First fight, too much adrenaline. I gassed, and after the fight, all I felt was this is not the best me. I can be much better than this. Maybe I was still having some habits from my old life. I was still sometimes partying. I was still sometimes maybe sleeping late, or skipping some training to go visit a girl or something like that. And actually, that first loss was, I think, one of the best things for my career, because if I won, I think I wouldn't have changed much. That loss like really humbled me, and made me feel like it's not enough with talent or will. You have to put the work. Okay, you have talent, you have some capacities that maybe other people don't, but that's not enough. There's other people like you that have that and will put the work that you're not willing to put. And I learned that. So like my second, third, after my first fight, I won like 13 or 14 fights on a row. Like 10 of those were knockouts. I really overtrained myself, not in a bad way, but I was like completely focused on fighting for like 4 or 5 years after that first bad experience.
Wow, that's amazing. That's an amazing story. I have so much respect for the dedication and the way that you turned like a negative situation into a positive situation. You took the positives from it. Wonderful. So you were on a winning streak after this. You also mentioned just now about national championships as well, because with this today, obviously you've had a lot of fights, nearly 40 fights. So we won't be able to talk about them all. We can talk about the highlights of them, which is why I'm skipping a few to go to
Mhm.
the national championship, because what it does is it shows people the levels that you went through. Actually, before we get to the national championship, I am going to ask you when you started winning and when you started to have this great run. When you got the first win after the that loss, how did you feel when you started winning these
Wow.
fights?
It felt it was like I was being reivindicated, like I'm finally showing some of what I know I have, I can give. But actually, I wasn't satisfied. Like I told you, I don't know if all the fighters do this, but I actually obsess with my fights. After a fight, I watch the fight like 100 times. I watch it in slow motion. I watch all my mistakes and I obsess over them. So even after winning, I still kept obsessing on what I could do better, what I could do, what I saw someone else that I admired, and I need to show that in my fight. So it kept pushing me. So every fight I came better. I like I told you, I progressed faster than most people because I was always conscious that I was behind. Always conscious. I want to be with the top people of my country. I want to be with the top people of the world, and I'm behind them. So I cannot stop. Have to keep running to catch them.
Yeah. And you mentioned there, as well as obviously training hard and focusing physically, you also mentioned something interesting there about like watching other people that you admired and like taking in information from other sources as well. Can we talk a little bit more about that? Because I think that's a great lesson that for people who want to achieve something, whether it's in fighting or whether it's in something else, the hours that you spend doing it is one thing, but in the time you are resting and doing other things, you can still be taking in the knowledge, the information. So let's talk about that a little bit more.
Yes, I used to. I won't say I still do it because now I'm a coach. I have a kid. I have many more things in my life than I did when I was younger. But like I told you, I obsessed on fighting. I watched fights, like you said. When I was resting, I wasn't really resting my mind. I was resting my body, but my mind was watching fights. Um, I was always pretty receptive to people I considered that were better than me. I wasn't like jealous of them. I was like On the contrary, I felt like they could help me. So I'm sorry, I lost the. Oh, here it is. So I felt like having a positive attitude about it would be better for me. They would be more willing to share their knowledge, and actually it happened. I had like maybe some people in the same circle of fighting that maybe they don't like you so much, but maybe because they don't know you. People maybe don't like some other people just because they have a angry face, or I don't know. But after you approach with a humble attitude and are willing to listen to what they have to teach you, always be receptive and also give back, try to help him if this person that is more advanced than you needs help in any way, he's helping you, try to give it back to him. And that's what helped me a lot. Actually, I had really good fighters around me in my team, and that helped me. I tried to rise to their level. I had to compete with them. They were my friends, but they were also my competition in a certain way. So I had to uh, be humble and try to catch them, like I told you. Playing catch up is the story of my life.
Oh, I love that because it's a very good mindset to have towards the process. And yeah, I mean, who you surround yourself with, it rubs off on you. They say success breeds more success, so it's a very, very good lesson there as well. So earlier on, I was mentioning about the national championship. I think this is a good one because by this point, you'd been obsessed, you'd been on a winning streak. Good things have been happening for you. Winning a national championship, amazing achievement. Can you share with us really your memories about it? I mean, it's not like a specific question, but just the things that stay in your mind now when you look back on it.
Okay, I really felt like anxious about it, about the opportunity to fight. I was fighting again a much more experienced fighter. I had like maybe 6, 7 fights. He had maybe 20. He had already been a champion. I was pretty anxious about it, but I felt like it was due time. I had been really preparing for it. Like I told you, I put small objectives and I obsess about them all the time. So when the opportunity was there, it was like it's been long due. I've been waiting for this chance. So it was, and after achieving it, it was great, awesome, like for a day. And after it was okay, now what? Now, okay, and now I'm the champion. I've beaten most of the people in my weight class in my country. Now what? This is not the roof, because when I started training, there was a guy in my country, another fighter who a little older than me, my same weight class, and I really admire him, and I wanted to be like him, and I want to fight like him, and everything. And when I started fighting, he was still fighting. He was fighting. He was a South American champion at the time. So I always, yeah, I had maybe if someday someone asked me, where do you want to be? Who do you want to be as? I want to be like him. So maybe my farthest objective at the time was maybe South American champion. So after getting the national championship and he wasn't fighting anymore, he was kind of not completely retired, but wasn't fighting as often. The guy I told you I admired. So I said, okay, so now I'm him. So I'm in his position. I'm in the position he was when I began. So if I'm being him, I should think like him, or like I thought he thought. So I cannot say, okay, I finished my objective. That's it. No, he would have thought differently. He was already a South American champion, so he would have been thinking, who are my opponents in South America? Who I have to fight to be the best in South America? And that's what I started obsessing about. So I want to be like him. Now I'm in his position. I need to be him and better, you know.
Yeah.
And after a while, I had the chance to fight him. Too bad the fight never. We had the flyers, we had the event. He ended up having an injury, and I never fought again. And I ended up fighting a replacement, but it would have been awesome to fight him because he was all my lifetime idol in my sport. I won't say his name because he's maybe watching.
Okay. Oh, that is an amazing story, though, and you know what they say. Um, they say work until your idols become your rivals. Maybe you've seen that. But I really
Yeah,
think that this,
exactly like that.
yeah, because it's amazing. So, okay, so then you were aiming for the South American Championship. You were aiming for that. So the same type of thing. Let's talk about, the build up, the preparation, and obviously the achievement itself, and what happened. Because like you said at the beginning, where, you improved one step, two step, three, one step at a time. I think it's good to walk through some of those highlights as well.
On those
At
steps.
South American champion, it would be interesting because at this point, I guess you were starting to maybe compete outside your country or compete
Yes.
with people who were from other countries as well. So it sort of goes up a level then as
Oh
well.
yeah.
So let's talk about that, like the whole process of what was happening there, please.
Yeah. After I got my national championship, I had like fought maybe 4 or 5 guys in my weight class. So I had, like I told you, not many opponents. And in Peru, I don't know if you know, but people are not so tall. And I'm one, I don't know in feet, but in meters, it's 1 meter 84. So it's kind of tall for Peru, 81 kilograms. Not many people in that weight class. So it was kind of fast that I ran out of opponents. And they started my first international fight was against a guy from Argentina, and I fought like 10 guys from South America, different places, because there's not many Peruvians my weight class, and also, like I told you, it wasn't as big. So when you reach a certain level, maybe there are people in your weight class, but not people on your level of experience. And it's not fair. They shouldn't fight you. So I had to start looking outside for the fights. I had my first South American championship was actually in Peru. Uh, I won my place in the team just as the host was going to be my country. It was amazing for me to win a championship in my own country, and really short after, like maybe 4 months. So one was in November and the other one was in May, for example. So it was kind of close. The next South American championship was in Argentina. So it was my first time traveling for fighting. And so the Peruvian Federation took me all paid expenses just to fight for my country. It was like the first time I also fought for my country, but in my country, it's not as when they take you to another tournament, it's like a responsibility. You represent your country in front of other countries, and I actually won again, and it just started snowballing. After that, I went to a World Cup, and the level, like you said, just jumped. Like I was having fights that I was winning, like until my fight number 14. I had never gone, like, except for my first fight. I have never gone past round 2 or round 3. Like and after, when you reach certain level, well, it's not so easy to knock people that know how to fight really well. So I still got some knockouts, but the level really jump spike, boom, up in the World Cups and etc. Like in the record I sent you, most of my losses have been in World Cups or Lethwei fights, so really high level fights.
Absolutely, which we will come to in a moment. Before we do though, representing your country, on the international stage or the international arena, as they say, we have to talk about what that means to you now, but also what it meant to you at that time when you first started doing it, and that responsibility for Peru was on your shoulders in a way to represent your people.
Yes. It was. It actually never got less important for me. It was always one of my biggest motivations. I don't know why, really. It's not like really patriotic sense, but I felt like it was my way of returning to the community of Muay Thai, what in my country, what Muay Thai gave to me. So that's the same reason why I teach, actually, because Muay Thai, like I told you, changed my life, gave me so much. Now I live from Muay Thai. My family eats from Muay Thai. I pay my house from Muay Thai. I do Muay Thai in the morning, in the afternoon. I still fight sometimes. I just fought last year in a Champions. So I'm still active. So I still live, breathe, and eat Muay Thai. So it was like my way of giving back to my country's Muay Thai community, and I don't know, like in a certain way, like also inspiring some other kids or young guys like me, that like I was inspired by this guy that fought before me, and it's actually pretty gratifying when someone approaches you and tells you, I'm a fighter now, and I started fighting watching your fights, and it feels amazing. And I can really relate to the guy that now tells me that, because I've been in his position before, no, watching someone that was before me do it. It's amazing, actually, representing my country. And like I told you, never got easier the weight, because after I ended up being the captain of the team. So after, it was not only me, it was the kids in the team, and everything, representing not only my country, but my country's Muay Thai, and my team, and the coaches, and the people around me.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I love the well, there's a lot of life lessons in there as well, but I love the transition that you've been through on the inside as well as the outside. Giving back to the sport is a beautiful thing to do. We will talk about that more later on. As well as that, what was the recognition like for you as you were going up the levels? What I mean by this is, you mentioned that people in your community were saying, I look up to you and I want to be like you, and this sort of thing. But was it getting to the point where, you're getting recognized when you're going out places, and this type of thing, you're getting well known in the community of Muay Thai in your area? I'd like to talk about how that developed as well, from being like obviously more unknown when you started to getting more known and more respected as well, please.
Yes, actually, like I told you, the community wasn't so big,
Mm.
but there was one big event in Peru at that time, and also it was kind of even bigger than Brazilian or Argentinian tournaments, that you should expect Brazilian tournaments to be big, because it's a big country. They have a lot of fighters with MMA and everything. But this Peruvian tournament actually was really well known in South America. They actually kept bringing Brazilians, Argentinians, people from other countries, and not many countries in South America bring fighters from other places, because it's much more expensive when you do that. So it was a big event, and even though the community was small, like if you fought here, uh, like everybody in the community knew you. So and actually, this is kind of funny, because I don't have dread anymore, but I used to have dreadlocks all over my head, and they didn't even know my name. They called me the Rasta. I was the Rasta for the people for I don't know how many years, until I cut them. So I don't know if I was like really well known, but for sure, at least from side, they knew me, and it started changing. Like I told you, people who practice Muay Thai started approaching. Hey, you're Matteo. I know you. I saw your fight the other day. Oh, I want to train with you, or I want to fight like you someday. And like I told you, I never felt. It always felt like humbling, and I felt really proud. I felt like I had become what I admired. You know, not like I made it, but I'm getting to be what I wanted to be, and what I expected to achieve someday. And it suddenly started becoming a reality in a small way, because I'm not Mayweather, and I'm not Tyson Fury or world known, but in my community, I was like in fighting sports was kind of known.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of the day, I mean, you say that, but you're having an impact, like a positive impact on people, in your community. And what you always have to remember, which is part of the reason I do these interviews in the first place, is if that sort of touches even one person or reaches even one person to sort of go in like a different path, or that, they were going over here, but now they're going over there, like your own life, I mean, it sounds to me like Muay Thai actually saved your life and actually took you on the right path. And if you kept going over there, something bad would probably happen, because it always does in those circles. Whereas now, your life is positive and everything. So I think that the impact, that you're having on people, it goes beyond money. It goes beyond these types of things, and it goes into showing people what's possible. That's not the question. I'm just saying from me to you. I hope that you see that about yourself, because that is what you're doing, that is like the meaning beyond the titles and everything is the inspiration. Um, so I just wanted to say that anyway.
Thank you.
In terms of getting back on track with it, so you mentioned about at this time, with the South American titles and everything, you were competing against these international people, and the levels were going up, and the World Cup, the levels were going up. So did your preparation have to change, have to improve in order to match the level that you were at that time?
Yeah, actually, when I was like only national champion, I had no idea what training for Muay Thai was like. I was just, even though I had a couple of championships, even South American championships, so it was also still kind of amateur and a hobby. It wasn't. It was my what I did all the day, but I wasn't like training like I really learned how you should train afterwards. For my first World Cup, I went for my first time to Thailand. We stayed there for a couple months. Things changed a lot in that trip. I saw how they train, how they destroy people's minds and bodies to rebuild them in killing machines. And it actually was mind opening, mind blowing, realizing that what I thought was a lot, what actually not that much, and what I thought was impossible was actually possible. I remember always one of my first days in Thailand, like maybe first week in Thailand, I was training. After training, when we finished training, we had run like 8 kilometers, then did many rounds of pads, clinch, everything. At the end, the coach said, "Okay, we're finished. You grab the bag and do 500 knees." I was like, "What? 500?" I couldn't believe it. It was the first time someone sent me to do 500 knees. You may say, "Oh, that's not that much," but at the time for me was like normally they send me to do a series of 100. I don't know, but like a sheer bulk number of 500 knees non-stop. It was like, what? Is this coach crazy? And the next day, he did the same thing. After the training, he said, "Okay, you're over. It's finished. Grab the bag, 500 knees." And that kind of stuff started changing my mindset. This is not possible. This guy is crazy. Well, I did it yesterday and the day after, and I'm still doing it. And everything hurts, but I'm here, and for sure I'm getting stronger. I'm getting better, and it started changing my way of thinking and seeing what it's possible and what you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Pushing the limits, is important. Absolutely. Because a lot of limits are the only things that we perceive, they're not really, really real. So
Yeah.
that's powerful.
You
Uh,
put the limits. No,
yes,
no, they're not there really. You put them.
absolutely. We put them exactly, exactly. So moving on from this now, shortly I'd like to talk to you about the Lethwei. I'd like to talk to you about your coaching and your future plans, and a few things like that. But before we do get into those few topics, what would you say is your proudest moment when you look back now, with Muay Thai, with kickboxing itself? I mean, because we've been talking about these different levels, we've been talking about national championships and South American championships and World Cups. Is there a particular fight or a particular win that you look back on now and you think that was the one?
Well, I've had a few that were like really special, of course, as you must imagine, but it's hard to pick just one because each one means like months of training and a moment in your life, and all are different, and I treasure all of them. But I think one of the biggest one for me, it wasn't even such a great fight, but for me it was amazing because it was a Pan American Championship in Mexico. I was fighting the final against the local against Mexico. The whole crowd was insulting me, like shouting all kind of insults and everything. And actually, Mexico City is height. They have like 2,000 something meters. So it was a tough call. And also, Pan American Championships are a higher level than South America. They have Mexico, they have Canada, they have the USA in them. So getting that win, being the visitor and knocking him out, and my actual wife, I met her in that trip to Mexico. She was actually at the ringside watching me. It was amazing. And after that fight, normally each organization makes the how do you when you they put the medals, the ceremony
Yeah,
for
ceremony.
uh, each organization makes different ceremonies. They do it as they please. And this was pretty special because they put the podium and they put the like normal Olympics, they put the national anthem of my country, and I had my flag on my back, and everybody in the podium and everybody in the crowd had to listen to my national anthem being sung, all my chords, vocal chords to the limit with all my teammates. It was really special for me. Winning international tournament, bigger than the South American, as the away team, and with special people with me there. It was really, like I say, it's so special. I have the video in my social media. I love that moment. That more than the fight, the after the ceremony, the no, it was amazing for me.
Yeah, that's
So
incredible.
proud.
Absolutely incredible. And you should be very, very proud. And I understand what you're saying, where they all mean different things, but it's nice to get one that's like super special, you know. So as we move into the latter phase of this, because we still have a few other things to talk about. Um, but I would say moving into the latter phase, and what I mean by that is moving now into coming up to the present day. So some Lethwei we need to talk about, then your coaching, your future plans. But Lethwei itself, I mean, how did that come about for you? Where did that begin in the beginning?
It's kind of a crazy story because I went to Thailand in 2016 or 17 um, to live there. I wanted to live the Van Damme dream, go to Thailand, be kickboxer, the movie Fight on Paul. Uh, and I stayed there for 8 months. My luck, when I was there, the king died and fights closed for 2 months. Every fighter in Thailand was looking for fights, and their stadiums were closed. Everybody was going to Malaysia, Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar, all the closed countries. And actually, when everybody's fighting outside, well, they can pick the best one. So there wasn't much fight for all the people that was in Thailand. And actually, a couple of weeks before the king died, I had a conversation with the coach. We were watching a reel, an Instagram video. The reels weren't the thing back then, but a video of a Lethwei fight. And we were commenting, and I would fight that. And he went, you really would? Yeah, I would. Why not? I'm not afraid. I told him so. You sure not afraid? Okay. And the conversation ended there. And after the king died, and no fights in Thailand. And one day he came and told me, hey, you remember what you told me about Lethwei? Yeah, I have a fight for you. You wanna do it? It's gonna be in Myanmar. They're gonna pay for the tickets. They're gonna pay you good purse. You're up for it? And I said, okay. Doesn't matter who it is. I didn't even knew who it was. The opponent.
Wow, so that's how it started. That is amazing. It like by chance, really, you know. Um, so okay, well, let's get into it. Something that I've been looking forward to asking you this whole entire time, to be honest. Your experience in Myanmar fighting one of the greats of Lethwei as well, you know, one of the best in the world, in, you know, his home country and everything.
of his
With this,
rules.
yes, yeah. I don't have one question about it, like specifically. I would just like love to hear the story really of the fight, but also of your time in Myanmar and what it was like as well, please.
Actually, this fight is the only fight I've been knocked out cold in all of my fights ever. It's completely different fighting without gloves and with headbutts and all that leadweight crazy things. Um, uh, but I actually have all the good memories from it. I'm still really proud of the fight I did, even with the result. I like from the beginning. Like I told you, I didn't even know who it was. One day I woke up in the morning and I had a Facebook notification saying, "Hey, you've been tagged in a picture." And oh, who is it? Some Asian name. You know? So I opened it. And, oh, Tutu. Who is this guy? I'm gonna look him up. Wow. And then I realized who I was fighting. You know, so many people ask me, well, what did you thought then? Why don't you think about maybe backing up? But that's never been my philosophy. I've never backed up from a fight. If a fight has been proposed to me, I've always taken it. I'm not afraid of fighting, and I wasn't afraid of fighting him. I wasn't afraid. Maybe I should have been afraid, but I wasn't. Um, and actually, it motivated me. I trained really hard, and I think I did a good fight up to the knockout. um, I trained really hard, and I think it showed. The trip was awesome. They treat me amazing. I've never actually the only place I felt famous in my life has been there in Myanmar. I arrived in Myanmar, and I was received by a driver and a translator. I've never been put anybody on my care or to take care of me, so it was really awkward for me. And when I went out of the airport, the taxi drivers in the door recognized me and, hey, you fight to do, take picture, take picture. And everybody was taking pictures of me like, what have I gotten into? After the car took me around the city, I'm going to take you to meet the city and get something to eat. And I started seeing billboards, big billboards on the streets, Tutu and me on the streets. Wow. And later I understood it was because he's famous. He's like big star in his country. And I was like going to fight Tyson in the States. So it was big for Myanmar. And I enjoyed it. I loved it. They treat me awesome. Best food. I love the food in Asia. Best treatment. Best everything. The fight itself. I like I told you, I didn't feel any fear. I don't know why. Maybe I was too proud about being there that I couldn't think about anything else. And I'm gonna do my best here, and I'm gonna make everybody proud. I'm gonna be the champion. And there's a funny anecdote about the fight. Before the fight, my coach was more afraid than me. He was worried. He knew the opponent. Before the fight, a few weeks before, he had seen me maybe a little worried, and he came and told me, "Hey, don't worry about him. He's old. You're gonna beat him. He's old." After he told me that, I looked him up, and he was younger than me. So I was like, okay. He was just trying to ease my nerves. But when the fight was about to begin, he like changed his mindset. He was like really worried before, and when the fight was about to be, he changed his mindset and he started like looking like the eye of the tiger. The time is now, and he was like, "Okay, Matteo, you're gonna go, and the first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna touch gloves and you're gonna front kick him in the face." That's the way you're gonna assert him that you're not here to play, that you're not afraid of him. You're gonna kick him in the face the first thing you do. And if you watch the video I have, it's kind of pixelated, so it's not really good quality, but you can see I touch gloves, and the first thing I do is what my coach told me. I try to kick him in the face. And there's a small press note from the Myanmar Times that tells that. I've read it before, and it was like a tale of the fight. They were telling what they fought, what happened, and they mentioned it. Like, I start and I throw a high front kick, and actually I missed. The Tutu saw it, moved the head to the side, and the foot went, shaved him. But I didn't get him. But I think the message was pretty well received. No, I'm not here to play. I'm here to fight. And my mindset for the fight was I'm gonna die in my terms. So many people told me to run, to move, to clinch, to survive. I've had other friends that have fought Lethwei also, from Mexico, from Costa Rica, mostly Latin American guys, because we were in a Latin American gym. Uh, and I had a friend that even draw with a champion of Lethwei, but he fought like running away from him, trying to stay alive. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to beat him. I was certain I had an opportunity, and if I had an opportunity, I was gonna try to take it, even if it meant maybe you could get killed. But I'm gonna try to take it. If I get it, then we would be a different story right now. Everything will be different. But I'm, like I told you, I feel really proud and I have no regrets, because I died on my terms, and I I, I didn't hold anything back. I fought to my limits. They knocked me down. They lift me up. They knocked me down. They lift me up. They knocked me down, and they lift me up, and I kept standing up until the referee stopped it. So, like I said, I was. And actually, Tutu had a little recognition for me after the fight. He came towards me and he told me, "Hey, yeah, don't be sorry. You're a strong fighter. Thank you. Next time I'll get you." It was a good experience, all in all.
Absolutely. Amazing story, man. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I've seen the fight, it's out there. It's actually how I heard about you from that fight as well. But yeah, I mean, you were giving a very good account of yourself, holding your own with him. From what I've seen anyway, that's my personal opinion. And really, with the knockout, it seemed quite sudden, when you watch the fight, it's like a back and forth, and then just bang, so it's one of those things where it's something to be very proud of, going to his home country, fighting one of the very best
Thank
guys,
you.
and you should be very proud of that. Now, I'd like to talk about a couple more things. We've been talking for an hour. I mean, it's gone by quick. It's gone by very, very quick. I'm happy with that. I keep these to a certain length for people's attention spans, so that it's not too much, too long, so we'll have to wrap it shortly, because we've gone so in depth and I've just lost all track of time. And it's a good thing, because we've been talking, from the heart. So we have to wrap it soon. But before we do, I would like to talk about it's a pretty big question, it's a pretty broad question, but just about firstly your coaching and your teaching, giving back, and what your future plans are as a fighter and as a coach. So I know with this, obviously it's a little bit of the past of how you got into coaching, but also where you wish to take it, and just about just about your coaching and about your future plans. It'll be the last topic, but I know there's a lot to talk about there, so I'm excited to hear about that as well.
Okay, I try to sum it up as much as I can. I know I talk a lot,
No,
and it's
but
maybe
it's
it's
not
my
a bad
fault.
thing. Sorry to cut into you. It's not a bad thing at all, because when I say we've been talking and the time's gone quick, it's good, man, because your story is like, I'm listening to it, right? And I feel like I'm there, man. I feel like I'm there, like you're telling the story, this happened and that's happened. And it's so vivid. You know what I mean by that? It's so real. It's like, I'm like, wow, So it's not a bad thing at all. And the last thing, I love your passion, your enthusiasm. when you said earlier, you eat and breathe and sleep Muay Thai, whatever phrase you use for it. I mean, it's so true because your passion for it comes over. So don't ever apologize for that. It's a beautiful thing, and the world needs more people with their heart in what they do, and like what they do in life. So no reason to apologize. Yes, with this one we can summarize it, yes, for time, but don't but it's one something I want to say to you, man. I love your enthusiasm for what you do, really.
Thank you very much. I actually took your advice before the interview to heart, and I tried to be authentic and speak what I thought and from the heart.
Absolutely.
Um, well, answering to the question about my coaching, I started coaching actually because all I did was fighting, and you cannot live from fighting. So it was a way to first to get some money to keep financing my training and everything. It really quickly changed when I had a couple of students that came, maybe kids that were a little introvert. They didn't talk much. They were like shy, maybe even bullied. And I saw how training and interacting in a group with other kids and older people and me and everything changed their attitude, how their parents started being really thankful to me, like saying, hey, I see the change in my kid. I see how now he's a leader in his school. All his friends want to be with him, want to be like him. And it's all not thanks to you, but thanks to what you gave them, to what you showed them. And my mind started changing. It started, like I told, it was just business. I wanted to get some money, and it started like, hey, there's much more here than just business. There's people that might need this like I needed. And actually, I'm really thankful for my coaches. They've done a million things for me, but everybody has some strengths and limitations. And what I'm trying always to do is trying to get as many strengths as I can to be able to transmit them to my students, to the best I become, the best I can give them. So that's, like, for example, the experiences we've been talking about. I talk about this with my kids. I talk about this, about the mindset of a fighter, about uh, not everybody has to be a fighter, but fighting is like life. You have to face your fears. You have to die on your terms. You have to put small objectives to keep yourself motivated. Don't if you put something too far away, maybe you will get frustrated in the way. So all these things I learned from my career and from fighting and from Muay Thai, I try to give it to my students and to my fighters also.
I love that. I mean, like I said to you at the beginning, giving back, is something I have so much respect for. I think that it's one of the highest aspirations in life, that people can aim for. Like if you achieve something, giving back to other people. And it's a beautiful thing. So the last couple of topics with this, your future plans. I mean, you've achieved a great deal in fighting, in combat sports. I'd like to know where you'd like to go with that in the future, but also, what your future plans are with your coaching as well, and just what's driving you now, because through this talk we've heard about like going up the levels, and every time you get somewhere you want to get somewhere more, and everything. So I'd imagine that is still the same for you. So from going forward from here, what are you aiming for? What is inspiring you next?
What has changed a little in my mindset right now is also related to my age. I'm 33. I'm turning 34 soon next month. That's really not old for modern fighter standards. You see fighters in UFC going up to 40, and in other sports, in boxing, it's still 30 long and fighting. So it's not like I'm done already, but I start feeling it close. So I feel pretty accomplished and fulfilled with what I've done. My mindset right now is like doing as much fights and tournaments as I can, actually, as crazy as that sounds, because I have in my mind that I do it because I love it. It's not because of money, because there's no money in fighting Muay Thai. It's more than you give your body, your elbows, your knees. You break yourself, and the pay is not enough even to cover that, much less to live. So I did it for love, because passion. So I keep having in my mind this idea that maybe 10 years from now I will wake up one day, hey, I want to fight. And well, you're 45, man, you can fight. So I'm actually like enjoying this last road, this last couple blocks of the road. I'm not putting a retirement date or anything like that. I'm probably gonna fight this year also, South American Championships, and any fight I get. And like I told you, like in fighting, I'm open to fight as much as I can, because I do it because I love it, and I'm pretty certain I won't be able to do it all my life. So I wanna do it all I can. So when I cannot, I say I did it all I could. I couldn't have done it more. Like I told you, no regrets. Try to have no regrets after. Exploit all options, exploit all possibilities. That's the idea right now. And actually, it's also transitioning into coaching. I'm doing it like both right now. I have my fighters, I fight myself. I've been in tournaments where I fight and my fighter fights the same night. Each time it's getting more of that. I guess in a couple, not a couple, maybe 5 4 years, it will be more coaching than fighting. But I love it. I love being in the fights, being in tournaments. I love the training, the mindset of the people that are training, and the sweat smell and everything related to what I do. So I will stay in it. I will stay in it, giving it back, like you said, teaching what I learned to new talents, new guys coming and trying to fill the spots that people my age are leaving, and trying to make them better than me and the other guys like me, so they achieve greater things, and give Peruvian Muay Thai a higher standing. So because the higher the people in the world see my country for my sport, it will give more opportunities for the kids coming. So I love to live a place where people don't see what I do as a hobby, because still some people see like many jobs, like being a streamer or being even a musician. Some people, what are you gonna do? You're gonna be an artist. What is that? And people still consider fighters like, I don't know, you should have studied something. So changing that is what I really want to achieve. Maybe not, I won't achieve it on my own, but put in a little brick or two, so people can come and keep constructing a wall in which people that want to live from this can, and don't get like shame from it, like, hey, what are you doing, go study something. And many people really give up their dream or what they feel, because they feel they cannot make it, like, doing this. They cannot be successful in life doing this. And it's not true. I'm successful in life. I have a family that fulfills me. I have a job. I'm not a millionaire, but I'm a rich person without money. Not monetary wealth, but I'm rich. I have a family that loves me and I love them. I have students that are that treat me, admire me, and are proud of me, and I'm proud of them. And so that's what matters. So that's what I want to make it a little bit easier for other people to make that decision. That for me was kind of hard. Okay, at the beginning it was okay. I'm giving up any other dream to follow this one. Okay, but maybe if in the future things are better, it won't be such a hard such a hard choice. You know, if you can be a football player, you won't say, no, why? There's a lot of money in it. You will jump on it. So if there was a lot of opportunities in Muay Thai in fighting, people will jump on it, and we will have great fighters. Okay, so that's what I want to do actually with my coaching and giving back, make it big, make people able to live from it.
Wow. Well, I knew that would be a good answer, but that's a really powerful answer because, um, well, it takes your giving back to people to another level, to a higher level, making a difference in people's lives, contributing to people's lives, and changing, like what you're talking about there, changing the infrastructure. Um, it's powerful because I really got that feeling from the beginning of this conversation when you said about being a fighter and people saying, oh, I can punch you for free and all of that stuff. I thought was quite funny. But when you're going through it, it's not, because you feel like you probably had those feelings of like, oh, what am I doing? Is this the right path?
This is my
I
time.
feel like an outcast and all these different things. So I have a lot of respect for the fact that you're changing them, other people not having that same experience, and having a better experience, because you proved everyone wrong, but what you had to go through to do it, I understand. So then changing the infrastructure, changing the format people go to, it's incredible. I'd like to thank you very much for your time today, and I'd like to thank you for being um if you know what I mean, being an open book, being like speaking from the heart and sharing everything. Because, um, well, being up on this type of platform, talking about your life, talking about who you are, it's not an easy thing. Hopefully, you had fun. I had a lot of fun with this, talking with you today, and hopefully, we've covered enough, because I always feel like, there's different things you could go down, different tangents, but we've talked about some great highlights of past, present, and future. And most importantly, the bit I'm really happy about, as well as the fun fight stories and all of that, is the inspiration, because all the way through this, there's been life lessons and everything. And sometimes I say to people, what advice would you give? But to you, like, I haven't had to ask what advice would you give, because all the way through, there's been really powerful lessons. And my hope is that people take from that to something that will help them in their own life. And, you show people what is possible, really, if you believe and if you have the dream. So I'd like to thank you for your time so much. And well, just to say, it's been a pleasure. Truly, it really, really has.
No, I want to say thank you for the opportunity. Like I told you from the beginning, it's I feel really proud to have someone so far from my country, even having heard my name and been interested in my story and thinking that my story can help some other people in their lives. I'm really thankful for that and for the opportunity to portray my story. Thank you, Liam.
Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.